Hello there, many thanks for joining us on Razep Africa this beautiful morning. Once again, we are here to discuss Africa, reasons why you should love Africa, and keep you updated with all the stories across the continent. With me today is our very own Simbia. Simbia does not like to be on air all the time. Is there a reason why?
There is no reason why, but I just prefer to do production and...
Yeah, Simbia half the time is behind the scenes, but it's good to have you join us this morning. Today is Friday, and as you know, we often start with the African news update, and afterwards agriculture for today and tomorrow, and we will be back to discuss happenings across the continent, giving you updates to what the African news update had this morning. Well, today we begin in Libya, where the country's principal governing institutions have agreed on a roadmap aimed at ending years of political transition and paving the way for the long-awaited presidential and parliamentary elections. Leaders of the Parliament, Presidential Council and High Council of State say simultaneous elections are expected to be held by February 17, 2027 in a bid to reunify Libya's fractured institutions. The announcement marks a significant step for the oil-rich North African nation, which has remained divided since the 2011 uprising that toppled Muammar Gaddafi. Although the eastern-based Libyan National Army has expressed support for the separate US-backed initiative to unify executive authority, the latest agreement has renewed hopes for a peaceful political settlement after years of instability. Now from North Africa to Southern Africa, Zimbabwe's parliament has approved a constitutional amendment bill that could keep President Emmerson Mnangagwa in office till 2030. Lawmakers overwhelmingly backed the proposal, which extends presidential and legislative terms from 5 to 7 years and postpones elections originally scheduled for 2028. The bill now heads to the Senate, where it is widely expected to pass, while supporters argue that the changes will promote continuity and stability. Critics warn that the move could weaken democratic institutions and further heighten political tensions in a country already facing concerns over civic freedom. Now, as governance reforms continue across the continent, Egypt has intensified diplomatic engagement on regional security following the recent agreement between the United States and Iran. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badir Abdelati hosted British counterpart Yvette Cooper in Cairo for talks on the implication of the breakthrough and wider regional development. The ministers also discussed the conflict in Gaza and Sudan, alongside trade and migration cooperation between Egypt and the United Kingdom. Analysts say the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz under the US-Iran agreement could ease global energy markets and reduce pressures on fuel prices worldwide. Now turning to economic resilience, the International Monetary Fund has approved a new climate financing package worth more than $211 million for Sierra Leone. The funding is designed to strengthen the country's capacity to withstand climate-related shocks while supporting long-term economic sustainability. In addition, the IMF completed the third review of Sierra Leone Extended Credit Facility Program, unlocking an immediate disbursement of nearly $32 million. The financial support is expected to bolster fiscal stability as the country continues to navigate environmental and economic challenges. Now, away from economic affairs, Burkina Faso's media regulator has fined French broadcaster Canal Plus 50 million francs for failing to provide subscribers with continued access to national public television channels. Authorities say the company breached contractual obligations despite repeated warnings and have given it another 30 days to comply or face tougher sanctions. The decision comes amid growing restrictions on foreign media under Burkina Faso's military-led government, which has suspended or banned several international broadcasters in recent years over allegations of disinformation and threat to national security. Finally, lawmakers from more than a dozen African countries have pledged to pursue tougher anti-LGBTQ legislation following a conference on family values and national sovereignty held in Ghana. Participants called on legislators to translate conference resolution into new laws and policies, reflecting what organizers describe as the protection of cultural and traditional values. The gathering follows Ghana's recent passage of one of Africa's strictest anti-LGBT bills and signals growing momentum for similar legislation across the continent. Supporters argue such measures defend national sovereignty, while rights advocates warn they could further marginalize vulnerable communities and deepen human rights consent. That's it for the African News Update this morning. We go for a short break. When we come back, we'll be bringing to you agriculture for today and tomorrow, as the team is standing by to give you all you need to know about your contribution towards food security across Africa. We'll be back after this.
Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Here, we celebrate Africa not as a headline, but as a home full of ideas, courage, flavor, and future. This is where we talk about everything Africa. The politics that shape our nations, the innovations that shift our economies, the culture that colors our lives, the challenges we face with honesty, and the victories we are building one story at a time. On this show, no topic is swept aside. We are unfiltered and we are intentional. We bring you experts from across the continent and the world. Voices that know, voices that live the African experience, voices that are shaping the next chapter of our story. Let your spirit rise. We don't just tell Africa's story, we own it. Join Joy Asonye on Razep Africa, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Global Television. Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Here, we celebrate Africa not as a headline, but as a home full of ideas, courage, flavor, and future. This is where we talk about everything Africa. The politics that shape our nations, the innovations that shift our economies, the culture that colors our lives, the challenges we face with honesty, and the victories we are building one story at a time. On this show, no topic is swept aside. We are unfiltered and we are intentional. We bring you experts from across the continent and the world. Voices that know, voices that live the African experience, voices that are shaping the next chapter of our story. Let your spirit rise. We don't just tell Africa's story, we own it. Join Joy Asonye on Razep Africa, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Global Television.
In the heart of our field lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions. From the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe, agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 11:15 a.m. Mondays and Fridays on Global TV, Channel 365 DSTV, StarTime Channel 276, or YouTube Livestream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow, where we promote smart solutions for a greener harvest. My name is Esther Itefia, your host. And remember, this is a media for the Agricultural Development Project of the GSA Initiative, that is, the Growth for Sustainable Agriculture Initiative, an NGO that is committed to supporting African farmers through sustainable, innovative, and profitable agricultural systems across Africa. Today's topic takes us into a rapidly changing world where agriculture is no longer just about land, labor, and rainfall. It is the digital farm, how technology is changing Africa in Nigeria. The word farmer or farming is usually associated with the picture of a hoe, a cutlass, perhaps a large field somewhere in a rural community. But that's not the case, far from it. And while those tools still have their place in today's society, especially in the rural section of Nigeria, farmers today are increasingly using smartphones, digital platforms, drones, GPS technology, and even artificial intelligence. Agriculture is becoming smarter, faster, and more connected. Yes, but the question is, how much is technology really changing agriculture in Nigeria? And are farmers ready for this digital revolution? Let's find out. Technology has transformed almost every sector of the economy, we can agree. The banking sector has gone digital, education has gone digital, healthcare is increasingly digital, and agriculture is no exception. Today, farmers can assess the weather forecast directly from their phones. They can access the weather forecast directly from their phones. They can predict the weather even before going to the field. So most times farmers do not have to go and wonder, will the rain fall before I'm able to plant or before I'm able to spray my herbicides? They already know based on this weather predictions that we have. They can also receive advisory services through mobile applications. They can sell their produce online without physically traveling a distance, because a lot of farmers are disappointed when they have to go spend a lot on logistics or for them to meet a market that is not ready to buy at affordable and considerate price, both for the farmers and the consumers. They can even monitor farms remotely now. Before, the farmers would have to go through the large expanse of the field using bikes or even using their foot to a large hectare of land. But now, this can be done remotely using the drones and satellite imagery, even from the comfort of their homes. In simple terms, technology is helping farmers to make better decisions, to reduce losses and improve productivity. So why is digital agriculture important? Why does it matter? One of the biggest challenges farmers face, especially in Africa and Nigeria, is uncertainty. Questions like, when will the rain start? Which crop variety should I use? What pest is affecting my field? Where can I find a reliable buyer? And how do I assess, most importantly, financing for my production and even up until storage and sales? Traditionally, a lot of farmers had to depend on the chiefs and the big figureheads in their community for answers such as this. They have to meet experienced ones or even by observation or word of mouth. But today, technology provides quicker and often more accurate answers. Yes, you can easily just go on Google, search, and get information. These informations, there are platforms that help to know current prices of crops and for them to fix their prices and estimate their profits even before leaving the comfort of their farms. A farmer can receive weather alerts. A livestock farmer can track animal health records digitally. Yes, even traders can connect directly with buyers through online platforms, like we said. So extension services are no longer just physical, because before, extension agents will have to go to remote farms to find these farmers and speak with them. But now it can be accessed to thousands of farmers simultaneously through mobile communication. Let's be honest. Years ago, many farmers looked at the sky to predict rainfall. Today, some farmers check their phone before even they check the clouds. Before, you would have to look at the sky and say, oh, maybe it's going to rain. But now, for precision and for good prediction, farmers check their phones. Surprisingly, the phone is often more accurate. Yes, we have a lot of farmers who are still yet to adopt this innovation and who feel that this might not be accurate, but technology, digital technology, using the mobile phone for weather prediction is becoming increasingly accurate. Agriculture has moved from simply hoping for the best. Yes, data is becoming an important farming tool. Data is becoming increasingly important in the agricultural sector. So how is digital agriculture here in Nigeria? Well, the good news is that Nigeria is already seeing growth in digital agriculture. Across the country, agricultural technology companies are developing solutions that help farmers to access market information, receive extension support, obtain digital financial services, improve record keeping, access quality inputs, connect with buyers. In fact, some Nigerian agricultural companies help with leading this transformation. And these companies are numerous. We have companies such as the Tribe Agric, Farm Crowdy, Hello Tractor, and Afex. They are using technology to connect farmers with finance, mechanization services, market opportunities, storage solutions, and buyers. For example, we have the Hello Tractor. It is a company that is focused on helping farmers to access tractors. So before, farmers will have to go to look for machineries and companies who deal with subletting these tractors for their field. But now they can easily access such information through the digital booking system that the Hello Tractor provides. And that is why it has earned its name, the nickname Uber for tractors. Yes, we have the Uber for driving and we have the Uber for tractors. This demonstrates that digital agriculture is no longer a concept of the future. It is already happening here in Nigeria. Let's speak of recent developments. In Nigeria, we had a significant step that was taken in June 2026. On the 2nd of June, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, working with the World Bank, supported ACRE-SAL projects, began transitioning the Digital Precision Agricultural Extension Platform, which is the DPAE, into a government-owned system. The platform is designed to deliver location-specific agricultural advice directly to the farmers through mobile phones. Imagine a farmer in Benue State, Niger, or Kaduna receiving timely information on weather conditions, crop management, pest control, and best farming practices without having to wait for a physical extension officer. Sometimes these services are even provided in the local language of the farmers. They do not need an interpreter when, just like when the extension agents have to come down to the farm physically, they might need an interpreter to meet the local farmers. But these services are now provided on the platform in Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, English, and various Nigerian languages. The long-term goal is to reach millions of farmers across Nigeria. This is a clear example of how technology is helping to bridge the information gap that has challenged the agricultural sector and productivity for decades. Perhaps one of the most exciting developments in agriculture today is precision farming. Yes, the word precision farming sounds technical, but the idea is very simple. Instead of treating an entire farm the same way, technology now allows farmers to identify the exact area where intervention is needed. Now, what does this mean? Before, when there is an incidence of pest or weed pressure, farmers will have to go around the farm to check by themselves, or sometimes they just spend a lot of money administering treatment to the whole farm. But now, precision agriculture has helped to locate the exact place where this pressure is faced on the farm and allows for targeted intervention. For example, a drone can fly over the field, detect areas that are experiencing stress. We have satellite imagery. This can help to review the crop health variations. Yes, to know what section of the field has this pressure and what section is free of stress. GPS technology can also help farmers to improve planting accuracy. This means less waste, lower production costs, better yield, more efficient use of inputs, and ultimately greater productivity. Because the end goal of agriculture in any country of the world globally is what? Productivity. Let's take a short break. And when we return, we'll examine some of the challenges that Nigerians face that is slowing digital agriculture, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa and the world at large. And we're going to discuss what must happen if farmers are to benefit from these innovations. Stay with us, and after the break, we'll talk.
In the heart of our field lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative and powered by smart solutions from the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe. Agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 11:15 a.m. Mondays and Fridays on Global TV, Channel 365 DSTV, StarTime Channel 276 or YouTube Livestream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas empowering farmers and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. Today we are discussing how technology is changing agriculture in Nigeria. Before the break, we explored some of the opportunities presented by digital agriculture. Now, let's discuss the challenges. What is holding digital agriculture back? Despite the progress being made, several barriers remain. First is affordability. Many digital tools are still beyond the reach of the smallholder farmers. And like we said, the smallholder farmers constitute about 92% of the farmers in Nigeria. Secondly, the internet access remains limited in some rural areas. In fact, that is a big struggle. In some areas, some networks are not available, and in some areas, there are no internet access totally. This is still a struggle to access information digitally. We also have the issue of digital literacy. Not every farmer is comfortable using the mobile applications or online platform. That's true, because they cannot navigate the system and go to find the information they want from their mobile phone. We also have the issue of power supply. Challenges can also be looked at in the area of adoption, because when there is no power supply, there's no literacy, it becomes difficult for the farmers to easily adopt these digital solutions. Finally, awareness. Awareness is a major challenge, because in as much as Nigeria, the government and companies are trying to reach out to farmers and create this awareness, there is still a large gap between adoption and the intervention. Many farmers simply do not know some of these technologies. They don't know they exist or how they can benefit from them. So we have to look at the ways in which information can further be reached to the farmers and help to adopt these strategies to access digital information through their mobile phones. The role of research and innovation in agriculture is also contributing a lot to digital transformation. Organizations such as the National Cereals Research Institute, that is the NCRI, the NAERLS, and the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, popularly known as the IITA, continue to support farmers through research, innovation, technology-driven agricultural solutions. Their work helps ensure that scientific discoveries reach farmers in practical and usable forms. Because technology is most efficient when it solves real problems. If it does not solve any problem, then of what use is it? So it has to solve the problem faced by the farmers on the field. What is the future of the digital farm? What do we look ahead for in digital agriculture as relating to Nigeria? The future of agriculture may look very different from what many of us know today. Artificial intelligence is already being used globally to predict disease outbreaks and optimize farm operations. We have smart irrigation systems that can automatically respond to soil moisture levels. We have digital marketplaces that connect the producers directly with consumers, and data-driven decision-making that is becoming increasingly important. The farmer of the future may still own a hoe and cutlass, so let us not rush. He might still own a hoe and cutlass, but they will likely also own a smartphone loaded with agricultural tools and information. So can technology transform agriculture in Nigeria? The answer is yes, but technology alone is not enough. Successful digital agriculture requires access, training, infrastructure, investments, supportive policies. When these elements come together, technology becomes more than just an innovation. It becomes a practical tool for improving productivity, reducing losses, increasing profitability, and strengthening food security. The digital farm is no longer a concept of the future. It is already here. The real question is, how quickly can Nigerians ensure that more farmers benefit from it? That is the question we should be asking. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow. I remain your host, Esther Ethiopia. See you next time.
In the heart of our field lies the future of agriculture, sustainable, innovative, and powered by smart solutions from the rich soil of Africa to high-tech farms around the globe. Agriculture is evolving to meet the demands of tomorrow. At the intersection of tradition and technology, we discover smarter ways to grow more, waste less, and harvest greener. Together, we are cultivating a future where every harvest sustains the earth and its people. Join us 11:15 a.m. Mondays and Fridays on Global TV, Channel 365 DSTV, StarTime Channel 276, or YouTube Livestream GSA Initiative. Agriculture for today and tomorrow, as we share groundbreaking ideas, empowering farmers, and celebrate greenhouse solutions. Together, let's grow the future.
Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Here, we celebrate Africa not as a headline, but as a home full of ideas, courage, flavor, and future. This is where we talk about everything Africa. The politics that shape our nations, the innovations that shift our economies, the culture that colors our lives, the challenges we face with honesty, and the victories we are building one story at a time. On this show, no topic is set aside. We are unfiltered and we are intentional. We bring you experts from across the continent and the world. Voices that know, voices that live the African experience, voices that are shaping the next chapter of our story. Let your spirit rise. We don't just tell Africa's story, we own it. Join Joy Asonye on Razep Africa, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Global Television. Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show. Here, we celebrate Africa not as a headline, but as a home full of ideas, courage, flavor, and future. This is where we talk about everything Africa. The politics that shape our nations, the innovations that shift our economies, the culture that colors our lives, the challenges we face with honesty, and the victories we are building one story at a time. On this show, no topic is swept aside. We are unfiltered and we are intentional. We bring you experts from across the continent and the world. Voices that know, voices that live the African experience, voices that are shaping the next chapter of our story. Let your spirit rise. We don't just tell Africa's story, we own it. Join Joy Asonye on Razep Africa, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Global Television.
Welcome back from that. That was agriculture for today and tomorrow, giving us once again the roadmap as to how you can contribute to Africa's food security. I loved the part where she talked about technology and how it can be infused into agriculture for data and so much more.
I didn't even know that there was a thing like digital agriculture.
Digital agriculture, yeah.
That there are drones that you could use that are connected to the internet, and also there's a way you can monitor the market right from your phone without having to go to the actual market. Yeah,
so there was such a time, a gentleman from India, I had a conversation with him when he arrived in Nigeria, and he developed one innovative organic fertilizer that it also repels cows and animals and insects. So it was so beautiful for the farmers that used it at the time, and it wasn't super expensive. If you put it around your farm, cows naturally will not come to, you won't even have this crisis that we are having. So there are a lot of innovations there, and I was so interested in it. I wanted to champion it. I wanted government to embrace it. The headers can graze, although it is so repulsive to them that they won't even want to go close. That's how repulsive.
From a very far distance.
Yes, they can smell it from a distance, and they won't want to come close to the farm. So it's not even a case of they won't they're coming there at all, because another problem is even when they are not eating in, they disrupt. Yes, okay. But this one it's so repulsive to them that they are far away from it. They don't even come close. I was so excited. This was at the beginning. I think this was about 4-5 years ago. At the beginning of the
imagine how much it would have grown if it was established then, and
yes,
we would be using it now. One technology that I would really love to have in terms of agriculture is if we are able to download food. I mean cooked food. Can just press type something on your phone and the food comes to you.
When I listen to Gen Z,
that's the technology that I'm most impressed with. Not to order the food, no, to actually have the food in front of my table, cooked, properly cooked. And
so an app that just says, won't it? I would be very concerned. I wouldn't even know.
No, the African mother in you will be concerned, because you think that maybe it's all
nutrients. I don't know if it's synthetic, because it's going to be synthetic. Where's it
just want
from?
To eat.
You just want to eat. I wouldn't want to eat whatever is produced like that. I don't know where that's coming from. However, if only we fix our security sector, it will trickle down. And if only we are intentional about infusing technology in this crisis we have in our agricultural sector, we won't even have so much problems. Yeah. I remember on Agriculture for Today and Tomorrow some time ago, the campaign at the time was, everyone come together, do your bit. If I plant enough pepper that would deal with my street, and you plant,
plant yam,
exactly. And even if just that street is planting peppers in the little cups and containers that you have, and the evolution in agriculture has taught us that you don't even need that much land. You could have your buckets and you plant your peppers and all of that. If that one street is planting just peppers and is able to feed itself in the street, it means there's an entire street that's no longer going to the market for peppers. And so the demand would naturally reduce.
And they could even extend it to other farm produce too, like
farm produce, like vegetables and all of that. And I'm happy. This is not to brag, but I'm happy that I'm trying to take that step. I have yams in containers in my home. I have a fish farm. You already know that. And vegetables. So very soon I'll be self-sufficient.
Very soon I'll be coming to your house to feast.
No, everybody who must come would come with something. You must be planting something as well. But let's go back to the African news stories this morning. I was most excited. What story really jumped out for you? For me, it was the Libyan story, where we are seeing that there's a presidential and parliamentary elections coming up, and the Libyan leaders are beginning to, look into that transition. Libya, since some will call it the mother of Gaddafi, since that unfortunate incident, we've seen the crisis that brewed. So it's good to see that there's a bit to reunify the fractured institutions.
Especially after several failed elections that they've been trying to have since like 2021.
And the death of Gaddafi's son a couple of months ago. So
also fraud. Yeah. Now the country remains divided between rival political and also military authorities, because there's the stability has affected migration, that's affected oil, and that's affected the economy in general, which also has extended to Africa and other African countries too as well. Yeah, so I think this is a welcome development, because at least it's positive news that the election is beginning to come back into normal, and everything will go back to normal.
As long as we have those crises out of the table, I'm sure we would be able to start recording peace the north has been really rife with and volatile with violent eruptions, but I'm hoping we'll start recording peace in our beautiful continent.
Yeah,
but moving away from that, we also have several other stories right there. Zimbabwe's parliament approving a constitutional amendment bill that could keep President Mnangagwa, I always struggle with that, Mnangagwa in office until 2030. That will be from 5 years per term to 7 years per term. That's interesting, because we talked about it last week.
Last week?
Yeah, we talked about it where if we give prerogative to every leader that comes into power, you see that they are able to change everything that they want. Just at your whims, you decide we change the constitution to accommodate your
There was this conversation going on in Nigeria here, where they want to increase the term to 6 years in office, and then just one term, rather than having 4 years for first term and then 4 years for second term. But some people are saying that it allows, the longer term allows government to complete development projects without having to deal with the frequent election cycles. However, other people see it as another example of constitutional changes rather benefiting those already in power. You are like, okay, if a president knows that he still has another term, he just focuses his efforts on the first term, and then the second term is for him, and then he gets to do whatever he likes and not even be concerned about the citizens anymore. But if it is just one term, they know better to do what they want to do at once, because they're not coming back. So I think it's a good development.
I think so too. I also know there's a bill in. I was trying to interview the House of Rep member pushing for that bill for individual candidates, where you don't need a political party to register as a candidate or a contender, because we see what happens with political parties where it seems like the consensus we have, the reason there's this much litigations that we're having, people after the primaries are saying, I didn't even know there was a primaries. It's so embarrassing that a contender will tell you, a candidate will tell you that a certain time was announced. I was with my people at that time and there was no elections that was held there, but the party has already announced to the world an election time. INEC is there to observe, but INEC will tell you that's your internal
problems,
party issues to deal with. So there's also that. While it is commendable, I also see the challenges that comes with individual candidacy, where Nigerians, we all like to lead.
Yes, we all like to lead, and we like to be led as well.
We love to lead. Every single Nigerian that you see wants an opportunity in office. So I don't know how because the parties give that filtering system with the primaries. Would INEC now have to do the work of the primaries, to filter it? Because you will now see over. I bet you, if you leave everybody to contest at their whims, you would see out of the 200 and let's say we have 200 million Nigerians, we'll see 100 million contesting.
We would have more
the
people
100
contesting,
million,
more people
to vote. Exactly. And the 100 million that are not voting is not because they can't, it's because, you know, they're old, they are too young to vote and all of that.
And when that is established, that's when you now know that Nigerians do not even have political apathy, because everybody would want to be
their own boss. So that there are concerns there as well. And this individual candidacy, while it supports something as important as the commercialization of our electoral process and campaign seasons, it also, that support and resources that the party often gives to candidates, I don't think it quite addresses very well the issues. In one hand, it is supposed to address the issue of over-commercialization by parties. A lot of people are disenfranchised or made ineligible to contest because of the massive nomination forms and forms for contesting. However, there's the support that the party also gives.
Of course, the political backing
that it gives, that you may not enjoy as a single candidate. And because the people at this moment have their mindset largely on money, it will be difficult to separate it, where you say, you know what, I am a single candidate, I do not have money, I do not need money, I just want your vote. You know how it is. You go there and it's the traditional level will say, what's in it for us? What did you bring for us? So there are a lot of challenges and hurdles we need to pass from that.
Yeah, I agree, because even me as a person, I would look at you two eyes that if you don't have the commitment or the capacity to join
enough for cola, we call it cola in Nigeria.
Okay, enough for cola. So when you go there, what do you have? What do you want to offer?
You know they give shishi, abi?
So it's typical of every Nigerian to think like that. It's typical of every African to think like that. So.
Exactly. So we now move on to Egypt, that has intensified diplomatic engagement on regional security following the recent agreement with the United States. According to that agreement, the implications is a breakthrough of a wider regional development, talking about Gaza, Sudan, alongside trade and migration cooperation between Egypt and the United Kingdom. Interesting outcome there. Speaking about the Strait of Hormuz, I think for now we are seeing that that agreement, the peace accord, is going to hold water literally.
Yes, and it will have direct implications on energy prices, on trade, inflation, and other issues across Africa.
So we're waiting to see how the prices go down from here. Because
especially the prices of fuel, because people are already anticipating is that, somebody was even telling me the other day that fuel will come down to 500, and as
that's been drastic now.
That's been drastic. Yeah. But we just hope that it drops. Let us see the impact, so that it doesn't look like whatever goes up never comes down, regardless of whatever issues that has been resolved, and then Nigeria will still have to face the same thing that they are already facing.
I mean, international prices would eventually come down. That's for sure. If the Strait of Hormuz is open as it has been promised, because I mean it's just the economy of things. It was stopped, and so it was rationed, and now it is freer, so everybody has access. That held into hostage 20% of the world's gas supply. So it affected several countries across the world.
Now that brings me to the question now, how do you think African countries should respond to conflicts beyond the continent that would affect local economies? Because if we have
always talked about how we can create shock absorbers, that would insulate us from all of these problems. As a matter of fact, I remember when this Strait of Hormuz was shut down, some African and economic experts had said that we haven't gotten our act right, and that is the reason why it seems like even when this global geopolitics is affecting us so badly, Africa has no business increasing fuel prices, but we don't have our act right. And I always explain this, and it's difficult because those who should explain it are sensationalizing the stories. Nigeria had to increase because we do not give 100%. We do not give 100% crude to Dangote. Nigeria still has its obligations and commitments to OPEC, and if we must remain as an OPEC nation, we would definitely have to give our crude certain quotas to international oil and gas companies. It is what it is.
At the detriment of the Nigeria that actually has the oil.
You cannot, because of a detriment today, cancel out. If you must play with the big boys,
I understand, because at the point when you need them to, it would be easy for them to also have.
So don't forget that this is not something that was anticipated. This is not something that had ever happened in our lives. You know, so it's one thing to say that Nigeria should have. Nigeria has energy on petroleum challenges. We have massive corruption around it, and it is stolen. We record Nigeria's oil and the crude being stolen in massive quantities. There are a lot of things that are affecting the quantity. We can't even sometimes sustain OPEC quota. So we have fundamental issues in our petroleum industry. And now we have a refinery, an indigenous refinery with the partnership that we already enjoy. One would think this is it. We have a refinery. So the one thing the refinery did for us, and Nigerians don't even know this, is ensure supply. When countries across the world were rationing movement because there was no fuel, like Nigerians were still balling. And we don't take it into cognizance the very fact that the availability of
regardless of the price, because there's a
regardless of the price,
money, but if the product is
regardless of the price, the very fact that we had available fuel. In the US, it was available, but it was tremendously increased, and a lot of people were suffering. You know, there were several. We were actually reporting these stories over and over, where countries across the world were having to ration. It got so bad. It was only Nigeria that you still see our public office holders drive around with several cars. In other countries, they rationed it to a point where if government had, say, 20 cars moving they reduced it to 5. They reduced it to 5. So everybody had their belts tied, but Nigeria didn't. And that's one of the benefits of having a country with natural resources. However, we saw the increment in fuel prices, and I'm happy it's going to go down, because Dangote did not have 100% from the Nigerian, from NNPC to, if he could source crude internally, he had just a certain percentage from Nigeria. So he still was at the mercy of the global price cap to buy crude. And he's a businessman. As patriotic as he may be, he's still a businessman. And so that is why you see the increment. And it was not as it was bad, but I'm happy about the US, Iran, and Pakistan peace deal. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in Egypt at the moment, I don't think had enough to a lot to do there. However, it was just good to see that finally the Strait of Hormuz is open, and we would see fuel prices come down, and above everything, we would see prices. What we call now, we call it goods and services. Why is that eluding me? Goods and services.
And a general upgrade in the Nigerian or African economy. Everybody's going to feel it positively eventually.
So the IMF is also giving Sierra Leone $211 million for what they call new climate financing package. Well, that's interesting to see there. According to the IMF, it said the funding is designed to strengthen the country's capacity to withstand climate-related shocks while supporting long-term economic sustainability. A lot of critics will say, to what end? To what end are you giving this money?
Yes, because
but it's a credit facility, so it's not like a loan, is it?
Financing alone is not enough. We should also consider effective governance, transparency, and also proper implementation. That is what will determine whether the money produces meaningful results or not, so that we do not go back to, because this climate change now is increasingly becoming an economic factor much more than an environmental one. As there are floods, droughts, and also changing weather patterns continue to damage agriculture, which also has a long-term impact on the food stability or food security of any nation. So I think if it is managed, like I mentioned earlier, if it is managed properly, we should be able to see meaningful results.
Absolutely.
I believe so.
Well, that's it for today's edition of the program. It's been wonderful discussing stories across the continent and ensuring that as the global shocks are happening, it affects us less. Strait of Hormuz is open. Thank you for that, even though if you've been noticing, there's been a lot of criticism to say, what did America finally get from this? Because everything that, if you followed all the list of what that new peace deal had, it was back to status quo. Now the strait is open. Now, in fact, you could hear the president say something like, that's President Donald Trump, say something like, it's not fair for Iran to actually be stopped from pursuing in
So you now begin to wonder, all the war, all the talks,
was it all that monies that was spent? But that's it, we've run out of time. This is Razep Africa. We've had a wonderful time discussing Africa. As usual, we'll be back next time with so much more. I am Joy Asoyen.
And I'm Simbiat. Welcome to the weekend, and I hope
welcome to the weekend.
we would get to do some TGIF behind the scene.
Absolutely.